And when I go in there, I'm honest with God. I think we do ourselves a disservice when we go into God's presence and we're trying to sanitize our prayers. It's like there is no ambiguity with sovereignty. So God already knows all of your struggles. It makes no sense for us to hide that from him. So let's say I go in there and I know I'm dealing with pride. It's in my heart. It's like the water in this rag. I go in there and I start crying out to God. God, I feel pride in my heart. And I'm asking you to wring this pride out of my heart. And I'm praying all the time, God, I pray you would give me the ability in my heart to hate the things that you hate and to love the things that you love. God, I pray you will create in me a heart that is pure. And I pray you will create in me a consecrated interior life. And so I'm constantly crying out to God, Lord, create in me an interior life that is pleasing to you. I want to have thoughts that is pleasing to you. I want to have words that is pleasing to you. I want to live in the dark in such a way that if somebody followed me all day, they would say, this is truly a holy man. So I'm constantly wringing out of my heart the sinful things that is coming up in my heart. If lust gets in there, I got to wring that out. If pride gets in there, I got to wring that out. If jealousy gets in there, I got to wring that out. If selfish ambition gets in there, I got to wring that out. If I start feeling myself because of comments on social, I got to wring all of that out. This is me doing the work to keep my heart pure as best as possible, because you are responsible for the cultivation of your own heart. Nobody's not going to do that for you. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's not going to do that for you. And so because I take very serious the calling God has put on my life and the amount of people I'm responsible for, I don't want to be preaching on Sunday and have a duplicitous life. I want to have a life that matches what I preach. And so I got to do the hard work every week of wringing out sin from my heart. I want to be a holy man, not from a sermon, but from what God sees in my heart. And this is why David said to the Lord, he had this prayer. David said, he said, "Oh Lord, search my heart and see if there's anything wicked in my heart. And if there's anything wicked in there, you'll deal with that and lead me to the paths of righteousness." That is David wringing out sin from his heart, because there's things in our hearts that we can't see, but God sees. There's things in our hearts that we don't see, but people see. So it's like in your car, you know, like when you be driving in your car. Am I all right talking like this?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you know, like when you be driving in your car, and you know, if your car is more modern, it got that little light on the side. When somebody pull up in your lane, you see the yellow light in your mirror right there. That's an indicator that there's something in that blind spot that you can't see. Now, you can't physically see that car there, but that indicator light is telling you there's something there. It's the same way there's things inside of us that we can't see, but there's indicator lights in our life telling us that but your marriage is in trouble. You can't keep a friend. You got bad relationships all the time. Every relationship you get in, people are walking away from you. That's an indicator light something is there. So if you're going to just keep hopping out of beds or hopping out of bad relationships, at some point in time, you got to realize something is wrong in me. Even though I can't see, people keep telling me the same thing all the time. So there's sins that we know and sins that are in our life that we don't know. So we need to be wringing out our hearts from the things that we do know and asking God, search my heart for the things that I don't know. When I say God, search my heart, this is me saying, God, show me all the things that's in this indicator light, this lane right here that I can't see. And I feel like, I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop right here. I feel like I was sharing it with your engineer when we came up here. He was asking me like, oh, why you talk about sin so much? And I said to the dude, I said to the brother, I said, first things first, I've been teaching Matthew for 2 years. I've been in a series of Matthew for 2 years. When I started that series, nobody knew 2819 existed. By the time God amplified our microphone, I just happened to be in the chapters in Matthew that's dealing with sin. So that's all people think I talk about. No, God amplified the microphone when I got to those chapters. So maybe God wanted the culture to hear about sin. And then the second thing I said to your engineer, I said to him, I said, yo, my dude, do you realize everything that's ever caused you pain is because of sin? I said, think about it. Your insecurities, your failures, the things that brought you the most shame, every relationship that's ended, divorce, your parents not being there, drug addicts, for all the stuff I've counseled over 12 years of relationships, like all the divorces that's happened, all the stuff you hate the most, bro, the origin of that is sin. Think about everything that's ever made you cry is because of sin. Everything that's ever made you cry is because of sin. When people think about my father left me at this age, I was raped at this age, I was molested at this age, I was taken advantage of at this age, I was abandoned by this person, I went through this betrayal.
I was as far away as a person could be, you know, in and out of jail, all that. But my parents never stopped praying for me.
So good.
And in the right season, God got a hold of my life.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that's amazing. How do you reconcile? Because I've heard you in a sermon say how the doctor said that your mother wouldn't be able to bear children.
Never.
And you said that she went to the passage of Hannah and prayed that prayer. Talk about that prayer and essentially kind of being realized today of you giving, praying for you to be brought back to God.
Yeah, my wife and I have had to use that same prayer. So, you know, when my mom was in her 20s, she had a damaged cervix, right? And the doctors told her she would never, ever be able to have children. It was like medically impossible. But, you know, my mother was a woman of faith, and she was a praying woman. And she went home, she laid her hands on the prayers of Hannah and pleaded with God for a son. And she told God, if you gave me a son, I would give him back to you. Right. And so I'm born. And then just to shame the devil, my sister is born behind me to let the devil know he doesn't have the final say so. Right. God is the God of miracles. There is nothing impossible for him. Right. Like, we respect the medical profession. We respect doctors. There's doctors in our church. But I like what Isaiah said in the beginning of Isaiah 53, that chapter. It says, whose report will we believe? Right. And so we choose to believe the report of the Lord. He's able. And so here I am. I feel like I'm a miracle child. My mother told me this story when I was 24 years of age. I didn't even know the story until after I was saved. Wow. It's like she held on to the story. It's like she gave me the story around the time I was saved to just say to me, no, there's a purpose for your life. Like, you're not here by accident. Right. And so even our last child, my wife and I, how honest can I be here?
Yeah, you could be 100%.
Like 100% transparent. All right. So like I'm a social conservative, right? And I believe in the sanctity of life. And I'm not ashamed to talk about that. And I don't care. And y'all could DM me all you want. And I really don't care about that. But I feel like the scriptures, God, there's a sanctity of life in the scriptures. But before I studied the scriptures well, you know, I was pro-abortion, fake choice and all this other stuff. Yeah. I paid for abortions in my lifetime, 2 of them. Okay. My wife has had 2 abortions in her lifetime. Right. So we have terminated 4 children in our previous life. So when my wife and I start having kids, our first child is almost lost to abortion. My wife is newly saved. We conceived Malachi before we are married. So when I got saved November 2003 in a bathroom. That night I had sex with my wife, and for the first time I felt convicted about sin. But she got pregnant that night, and we didn't know, right? And so she, feeling ashamed now as a new believer, tries to go and think the best thing to do is get rid of this baby. And God stays the hand of the executioner at the Planned Parenthood. Do not terminate this child. Keep this child, right? So this was Malachi. Keep this child. And she's fighting them on the table, right? She's fighting them on the table. Keep this child. She comes home with the receipt, the $300 receipt she paid for that abortion. We put it in a picture frame. Right. I gave that to my son Malachi when he turned 18 to tell him, no, God saved you and there's purpose for your life. So Malachi was spared. My daughter Israel was stillborn, you know, and she was resurrected by God in the hospital room. When she came out the womb, she was completely dead. No heartbeat. She was resurrected by God in the hospital room. My daughter Abigail had a cyst on her brain that was leaking liquid into her spinal cord. The doctor said she would be born mentally retarded. She wouldn't be able to walk or talk. We prayed. According to Isaiah 53, he healed Abigail in the womb. So now we have these 3 kids, right? And I'm bringing this full circle. Now Lena's like, she came to me one day. She was like, honey, you know, we got this boy and we got these 2 girls. You got rid of 2. I got rid of 2. We should put 4 back in the earth. Since we terminated 4, let's put 4 back in the earth. And let's see if we can send out some righteous seeds into the earth. So she's like, let's believe God for a son. Not like just a child, but for a son. So we have 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm like, all right. We opened up the prayers of Hannah, what my mother did. And Lena and I got down on our hands and knees, and we laid our hands on the prayers of Hannah. We prayed, Lord, we ask you, God, for a son, not just a child, but we want a boy. We want 2 boys, 2 girls. We want to restore back to the earth 4 righteous seeds for the 4 we took. The 4 that's in heaven with you right now, we want 4 on the earth. And Lena said she used this word as a type of atonement, is what she said. And then here comes Josiah. You know what I'm saying? The only child we planned, You have stories in Christendom where people who have made mistakes and have bounced back from mistakes, and we've seen God bless them on the backside of that. And so I teach people all the time, your mistakes will do two things. They will either be a coffin or a classroom. We're all going to make mistakes, but how we respond to it determine our character. So it's like when you make a mistake, you look at that and it's either a coffin or a classroom. It's either something you learn from or something that buries you. And so I think it's important for us to just establish those things. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody will have things that they regret in their life. The issue is the character of the person who's made the mistake. I think God is quick to redeem, restore, and even bless people who have made mistakes based on the character of the person. But as pastors, I think we have to think twice about the decisions we make because, Neo, our decisions affects families. It affects the people who attend our church. It affects the way people see God. And so I think when you get to a certain level, you have to be more conscious of your decisions. So when we think about where you are right now, right? You are a nationally known businessman, husband and father. You've been on network televisions. You are an influencer in the culture. So because you're an influencer in the culture, there's people who look up to you. They believe in Nehemiah Davis, like Neo DeVazio is trending in culture. If you fumbled right now, you got caught up with some chicks in a hotel, you just got to think about the damage. It's not only your wife is going to be damaged or your kids are going to be damaged, the culture will be damaged. So I think when we understand what God has blessed us with, influence, which is an intangible gift, I think that has to be stewarded with more humility. So when I think about where I am right now, right? Wife, teenage children, thousands of people in person, tens of thousands watching. If I did something stupid right now, it not only affects me, God can forgive me, he will, but the tangible and intangible damage to thousands and tens of thousands, maybe millions of people could be so catastrophic. And I feel like when we have influence like that, you have to feel that weight. And that weight should give you a sense of humility, a sense of wisdom in terms of how we govern ourselves, how we move, the decisions we make. Then there must be a weight of external responsibility to know that, Lord, all of these souls, some of them could walk away and never come back to you if I fumble the bag right now. And I feel like if pastors don't have that kind of weight on them, if they don't feel that type of external pressure, then they not only make mistakes, bro. Let's go beyond mistakes. They live foul and they don't care and they damage people. And there's some people who've been so hurt by pastors, they will never go back to a church gathering. They will never step foot back into a minute. They will never go back because of what pastors done. So I think we have to have the humility to understand the weight of that influence and steward that with a great amount of sensitivity to the lives of other people.
Yeah, wow, that's good. That was powerful,
bro. Nobody's never asked me anything like that before, bro.
Interview okay so far?
Interview's dope, bro.
Oh, that's good. I'm happy to hear it. I feel good about that, man. So I gotta ask you a question. You says you have no idea what's on the other side when you get a single instruction from God.
Come on, bro.
How do one, that's what I want to know, because God don't talk to me yet. I haven't heard like, Nehemiah, do this. Like, I don't really know. I don't understand. And I grew up, my mom, my entire life, like religion was somewhat forced on me, right? I had to go to church. I don't go to church as often as I can because I'm scorned. I used to have to go every Sunday, and we in there for 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about every week.
Yeah.
I got PTSD.
Yeah, come on, bro.
So I go to church literally like every couple months because it's hard for me to, I just think about when she used to make me go.
Shout out to your moms though.
Yeah, no, my mom pray over me every day. Like she pray over my friend. Like
shout out to your mom.
She the truth, but I still had some things that I'm like, man. And then I see so much on the internet. But you said you have no idea what's on the other side when you get a single instruction from God. But my question, how do one get to this point when you can hear and understand from a word from God so clearly?
Man, that's so good.
first, before I answer that question, man, I just want to say I had a chance to talk to you.